All right, guys. Welcome back to Double Dribble. This week we're doing something special. We're going to be doing this intermittently. It's just Throwback Thursday portion of the show where we're going to be talking about the past NBA, not really present. This week we have Adam, of course, resident basketball fan, and we have a special guest, Joe from Game Time Decision.
Yeah, one of the original founders of the network, basketball fan.
Oh wow.
Not to brag, but
Yeah,
probably
okay.
don't. Oh no, I know a thing or two about basketball.
Oh,
so,
do you? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Try to
okay.
contribute to the show.
Okay.
Add a different view.
Yep. So on Throwback Thursday, we're going to be focusing on past NBA because it's great talking about LeBron and the Warriors and the Celtics.
We always talk about them every podcast.
Yeah,
You got to mention them.
It's great talking about them, but the past NBA is just so great. We have players like Jordan. We have the 60s, 70s, 80s, just all these great eras, and they never get talked about. So
Steve
that's
Kerr.
Steve Kerr,
Yeah.
Can't forget him. Who else?
Yao Ming.
Craig Elo, great guy.
Yao Ming.
Yao Ming.
Yijan Leon.
Ejon Leon.
Yeah.
Zhen Lang.
So we're gonna be talking about these guys today. Today's just gonna be kind of introductory portion of the show, and we're just gonna do our top 5 players of all time and why we think that. So we're just gonna do a round table. Joe, you want to start off?
Yeah, do you want to just do this instead of having one person just rattle off their top 5 and
No.
just
No.
just kind of name one guy?
Yeah.
So I'll start with 5.
Yeah, start with 5.
This is gonna get some different looks. I have Kobe Bryant at 5.
Okay.
Okay.
I was going through. I don't know. There were a lot of guys: Tim Duncan, Larry Bird, Shaq, and I came to Kobe because you know what? He had 5 rings. I know he wasn't the best player, arguably on 3 of those teams.
3 of them, he wasn't the best player. Where he
But
got
you
those
know what?
rings.
Shaq.
He won 2 other rings. He has 5 overall. He's 3rd all time in scoring, and I think he's the closest thing we'll ever see to Michael Jordan in terms of just that mentality, that trash talking, and that just cold-bloodedness to kill. So what do you guys think about that?
The thing I have against Kobe, he is from Los Angeles, so
Dude,
he's kind of a scumbag.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Huge scumbag.
Rapist.
Whoa.
But the thing is, he always had great players surrounding him when he won. He always had a Shaq. He always had a Pau Gasol.
Bynum too.
Bynum.
He was good.
When you say Pau Gasol, he's a very, very good player. But it's not like it was a super team with Pau Gasol.
Yeah,
and Andrew Bynum had 1 good year.
No, Andrew Bynum had more than one good
One
year.
year where
Let's
you
be
can say he was a
honest.
top 3 or 4 center in the league. Other years he was just raw with a lot of raw potential. He was always injured. He had Pau Gasol, who's good, but he's not Shaq. I'll give credit to your argument. He was not the best player with Shaq. But those other 2 rings, those took balls, and you know what? I give him all the credit in the world.
He did beat the Celtics, which
Oh.
that Celtics team was
Shouldn't have won.
one of the greatest teams of all time, to say the least. And he beat them. I respect him immensely for that. It's just when you're looking at 3 out of 5 rings where you're led by one of the greatest centers of all time, it's just when you're putting him at 5, I have no problem with putting Kobe at 10 or 11, but him at 5, that's a little high.
And 3, one of those rings with Shaq, a little bit of an asterisk because 2001 Western Conference Finals against the Kings. That little bit of fishy refereeing there,
yeah.
to say the least.
They just wanted the better LA team or the more noticeable LA
Yeah.
team in the finals that year.
All right.
So we're
who's-
gonna move on to Adams.
all
Number
right,
5.
Number 5, I have Larry Bird.
Larry Bird.
Celtic. Just a great player. He like Kobe, he had the killer instinct. Great 3 shooter. What did he win? 3 rings.
Mm-hmm.
He could be more higher in all-time scoring, but the back at the end of his career,
Yeah.
and just a great player.
Yeah, great player, great 3 shooter. He had that cocky mentality where he's
Yep.
just better than everyone. We hear the stories of him at the 3-point contest. He's in the locker room saying, "Who's here for second place?" He
Exactly.
goes out there with the jumper on and just wins.
Might be the best trash talker of all time.
Oh, it's debatable.
Yeah.
The thing is, at my number 5, the 2 are kind of coinciding. I have Magic. I have Magic at number 5.
No.
I have Magic.
There are not 4
Oh.
players in basketball history better than Magic Johnson. I will say that right now.
I can promise you there are. if you
Just
go
to
down my
clarify,
list.
are we talking best resume, or are we talking if you could take any player for a certain period of time in their primes, what would you take?
I'm not talking about resume. I don't care that Robert Horry won 7 rings.
Ugh,
I don't
overrated. He's overrated.
I don't care. I'm talking about who is the best basketball player of all time. Who can get out on that court and just put up numbers. That's who I'm talking about.
Yeah, what I'm saying is if I were starting a team and I could pick any guy in their prime to be on that team, that's what I'm saying. And So we're not talking like resume per se, just to clarify.
No,
Yeah.
we're not.
So don't get hasty against us. But the thing with Magic is, again, he had Showtime Lakers where he's with James Worthy, he's with Kareem. It's just the man's always had help. I'm not downplaying how great of an NBA player that man is.
I know you have him at 5, like out of so many NBA.
Yeah,
exactly.
He's 6'9", playing the point guard position. He's immensely quick. He can pass like no one's ever seen before. He started the whole flashy passing that's been led on today with Curry and John Wall and players like that. He started all that. There was no player before him doing stuff like that where he would run transition offense like no one else could. You know, he's one of the greatest players of all time. That's why I have him at 5. I think I have 4 other players that are greater than him. I know Joe thinks very highly of Magic Johnson. I'm sure we'll see him later on in his list. We're gonna move on to 4 for Joe. Who do you got at 4?
At 4, I got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar,
Okay.
all-time leading scorer, 6-time champion. Can't omit him from the list, and I think that I think that's like the cutoff, like the 70s. Because for me, I'm just going to say right now, I omitted guys from the 60s and 50s because there wasn't a lot of parity at that time.
Will doesn't agree with that. But
And so, you know what? I'm making the 70s the cutoff, and I think Kareem was like the first player of, I would say, the modern NBA to be great. So I can't keep him off the list. You look at his accomplishments, numbers, rings, everything about that, revolutionizing the game. I have him at 4.
Okay. Who do you got at 4, Adam?
at 4, I had Bird at 5, so I gotta have this guy at 4. The two big rivals, Magic.
Okay.
For the same reasoning as Will. Great player, flashy passing, one of the best, easily best passer of all time, best point guard of all
He's
time.
the best point guard of all time. I'm
Yeah.
not knocking him for that.
Like no doubt, best point guard of all
Yeah.
time.
To agree with Joe, I also have Kareem at 4. As he mentioned, he is the leading scorer of all time. But I don't know if that means anything. Look how easy his job was. We talk about players like Karl Malone, who's number 2. That man had the easiest job in NBA history. When you're getting passes from John Stockton that are just layups for you. I mean, guy never won a ring.
Yeah.
6 rings for Kareem.
I mean, yeah, exactly. But Kareem's also playing on Showtime Lakers. He's playing on great teams.
He was old on the Showtime.
He was
Lakers.
also on the
It doesn't
Bucks.
matter,
Yeah, he
he's
was on the
still
Bucks
great.
before.
Yeah,
too.
he was on the Bucks before. I mean, but when you're talking about that sky hook, that shot was unguardable at the time. No one else was really doing it like he was, where he would just put it up and he would make it 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
It's iconic. Everyone knows that shot. We can see it in Ted, the movie. It's just, yeah, he's a great overall player. He's at number 4 for me. He's one of the greatest centers of all time, undoubtedly, and that's why I have him at 4. Joe, who do you have at 3?
At 3, I have this is going to be very controversial. I have Michael Jordan.
Very controversial. Yes.
I think there are 2 guys in NBA history who are better than he is. My main argument is that when you look at resume, yes, Jordan obviously. When it comes to having the hardest road and winning in 2 3-peats, obviously. But what I'm saying is I'm talking talent and I'm talking bringing a team. I'm talking starting a team. And I had this conversation with Will before the show, and we were saying Jordan would not be my number 1 choice. I'll get to him later. If I wanted to start a team from scratch and start there. If you said in the NBA Finals you have 7 games to win, I would take Jordan in that small sample size.
Yeah,
but
Jordan
overall,
is the most
he's not the
clutch
best
player of all time. That's undeniable.
Yes.
That's also why I have Jordan at 3 as well. I have Jordan at 3. He is the most clutch player. He has the most assassin-like mentality. He's uncomparable in that aspect. But we're, again, like Joe said, we're not talking about his resume. Of course, his resume's it's great.
It's perfect.
You can't get more perfect than Michael Jordan's resume.
6 for 6.
6 for 6. Defensive player.
Could have won more.
Okay, but he had to go play baseball. Oh my god.
Because he had a gambling addiction.
Yeah. 6 for 6 in the finals, multiple defensive player of the years, multiple MVPs, multiple scoring leaders. It's just the guy's great. It's just in raw talent, I have 2 players that are better than he is. And Adam, who do you have at 3? I'm sure
At
it's something
3?
stupid.
Oh my. Okay, I have LeBron at 3.
Oh.
Okay. What? Okay, we have two LeBron lovers, so I'm just getting ganged up on already. I mean, yes, he's great. I know he's great, but he's won 3 championships. His career, I understand his career is not over. So at this point, he's number 3, but he does have the potential to be the best player of all time. He just needs to add more. He just needs to get more championships.
But that's the resume we're talking about.
We're talking if you one player in his prime to start a team. That's the way I look at it, and I think you're kind of looking at it through a different lens.
I'm sorry, I didn't know we were looking at it that way, but still, I'd rather have Jordan to start a team, in my opinion, because, I mean, he's just more clutch. You know, he's not that clutch, let's be honest. And
I mean, did you see Game 7?
Yeah.
Kyrie did hit that big shot, though. I mean,
Okay,
I know,
block.
great block, but he's not that clutch. He's clutch, but he's not that clutch. He's not as clutch as Jordan. He's not as clutch as Bird. He's not as clutch as Magic even.
I have LeBron at 2. That's who I have at 2. He's great. You know, he is the epitome of basketball. The man can do everything. He's an athletic freak. He goes out there. He plays nearly the whole game. He's not tired. He can do it on both ends of the court. If needed, he can hit that big shot. He's fantastic. I have him at 2. It was hard putting him at 2. I wanted to put him at 1. But the person above him, the person I have above him just doesn't get better than that.
God.
I agree 100% with Will. I know this is getting a little bit redundant, but LeBron James, if you said create a physical specimen of the perfect athlete, any sport, you put him in football, I think he'd be one of the best tight ends. He is a 6'8", 250, depending, he lost a little bit of weight, but with Miami, he's 270 pounds of pure muscle, who's probably one of the fastest players in the league.
Yeah.
The guy can pass better than, I think he's the best passer right now in the NBA. I really think that.
Really?
Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
I think he's the best defender in the league. And I think that he is one of the strongest players in the league. He is literally everything you could want. And I go back and forth on this argument. To me, it's literally 1A and 1B. This next guy that I just had to go with them. But I think that what LeBron showed during that finals, I think he showed the clutch gene that we were all looking for when he was not favored to win, when he came back against all odds, against what people dubbed the greatest team ever. That solidified him better than Jordan.
I think he might have lost if Draymond. He definitely would have lost if Draymond wasn't suspended.
So what do you think's going to happen this year, Joe?
Oh, I think that the Cavaliers are going to win the NBA championship.
Really?
Unequivocally.
Oh, yeah.
Unequivocally.
Yeah,
I didn't even have the Warriors in the finals last year. I had the Spurs, and I think that could still happen.
No, it won't happen. Spurs are struggling.
Are we watching the same NBA?
Yeah. Do you know who they got over the offseason?
Pau Gasol?
No, not the Spurs.
Yeah, the Warriors.
The Warriors.
They got some small forward. No big deal. But
they
got
want to talk about clutch gene? Neither of those guys have the clutch gene.
Who?
Neither of them. Steph Curry and
you don't need the
KD.
clutch gene when you're blowing out teams.
Not going to happen in the playoffs. Not going to happen in the playoffs. There's a guy in San Antonio who will lock down Kevin Durant.
Okay, but you have 3 other players. You have Curry, you have Thompson, and then you have Draymond.
Why are we just subtweeting everyone? Say their name.
Yeah.
We're talking about Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, Kawhi Leonard is. I think he's the second best.
And it's not like you can't lock down Durant.
I think he can.
Durant's one of the maybe arguably the best scorer in the NBA. You can't just lock him down, even if he's the best defender.
I don't know who's going to stop Pau Gasol and LaMarcus Aldridge.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
Pau
Draymond
Gasol.
Green, who's one of the better defenders
At
in the league.
6'7" compared to 2 guys who are around 7 feet. I don't know, 6'11", 7 feet. Zaza Pachulia and David West ain't stopping. I'll tell you that.
Don't leave JaVale McGee out of the question. What are we talking about?
Who's stopping Curry?
Patty Mills.
Patty Mills. Okay. How about Clay?
Danny Green.
Oh, okay.
Danny
Yeah. Okay.
Green.
Yeah.
This got a little too
I'm
current
scared.
for TBT,
sorry.
but
I'm
So
sorry.
who do you
Had
have
to
for
give a
two-
take.
what do you
We
have
just got into. Okay. I have Kareem. All-time leading scorer, best center of all time on my list, and just a great player. How many championships does he even have? What?
6.
6. Incredible. And he was very good with the Bucks. And yeah, you can make the argument that he took passes from Magic, got an easy job, and that's partially true. But he was also very, very, very good with the Bucks.
And he did play for 20 some odd
Yeah.
years. That's probably why he's number 1. So I want to save my number 1.
Yeah,
for
I was gonna
last.
say. I think that Will and we have more unique ones. I think we can both assume who Adam has because since he hasn't had Jordan on his list so far.
Mikey,
So
yes.
go with the most common one.
I
so.
do. Oh, the most common one. Okay.
Well, if you ask the average person who's not even an NBA fan, who's the greatest player of all time, they're gonna say Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
So
Yes, I think it's Michael Jordan. 6
All right.
championships, 6 for 6. great in the playoffs. He could have won 2 more. I know you can say, oh, the gambling.
Why did he win those rings?
I know. I've seen the conspiracy theory about the gambling.
No. I'm not talking about that. It's because he's surrounded by greatness. If we look at Jordan's first years in the NBA, what's he doing? He's losing in the first round.
LeBron's not surrounded by great players too.
But
Wade, Kyrie.
I'm not talking about that. When he goes to the NBA Finals with that first Cavaliers team.
That is greatness at 23 years old. Another thing to kind of go back to LeBron versus Jordan. It's the same thing as the Brady versus Montana argument. And I'm saying if LeBron gets to 6 rings, which I think is actually possible. Here's what I'm saying. What's more impressive, going 4 for 4, or in this case 6 for 6, or making it to the finals 10 times, 11 times?
People knock LeBron on having a 3-4 record, but he goes every year to the NBA Finals. People are knocking him for that. If he was to win every championship he goes to, he'd have more rings than Russell at the end of it.
Oh, that's so true. Especially, like, you look at it that way. Would you rather lose in the first round, second round conference finals, or in the finals? I mean, you shouldn't
knock him on his
Exactly.
greatness.
Okay, I can see where you guys are coming from. Okay.
I mean, we are not taking into account that he does play in the current NBA in the Eastern Conference, where he's kind of
Eastern Conference is pretty easy.
He's kind of given a ticket to the NBA Finals every year. But besides that, it's not like he's a scrub in the NBA Finals. He's putting up consistent numbers, maybe not in that Mavericks series, but whatever.
That's the only series where I say, you know what, LeBron, you should have won that. That's the only one.
Yeah. I think LeBron should be
4-3.
4-3.
Raylan kind of saved him. Okay. I know you guys don't like that.
Haters gonna hate. Haters
Come
gonna hate.
Come on. I'm not a LeBron. I'm not even a LeBron hater.
My argument with that is, who led Ray Allen to that shot? Who is the reason that Ray Allen gets to take that shot in win?
Yeah, who drags that defender from the corner in to leave the greatest 3-point shooter of
How
all
about
time wide open?
an 82% free throw shooter and Kawhi Leonard missing 1 or 2 free throws of the possession before? A little bit lucky there. That's all.
Okay, people are bound to miss free throws. If we're talking about missed free throws, go to the most infamous case where Nick Anderson misses 4 free throws in what was it, the finals or the Eastern Conference Finals? I believe to lose that series, and that ruined his career. I mean, when he was on the Magic, and that ruins his career. Nick Anderson goes on from that saying, "Oh, I was never able to do the same." He was afraid to attack the paint after that because he's so afraid of missing free throws. He's so scarred by that performance because he knows that he had a Penny Hardaway on his team. He had a Shaquille O'Neal, like a young Shaquille O'Neal, where he's in tip-top shape, and he's missing those free throws to lose. I mean, missing free throws are bound to happen to the best of us. But I mean, I don't think you can put that on why the Cavaliers.
Well, the bounce is pretty lucky from the shot, and it bounced right the ball. I'm saying very lucky situation.
Are we
general.
knocking LeBron's greatness on physics?
I'm just
Physics
saying,
of bouncing
Bringing
balls.
Craig Schneider in
A
here.
little bit lucky.
So you have Jordan at 1. That's, I'm sure.
I mean,
everyone could
you
expect
can't
that.
really. We have different views, but
If we're talking about resume, yes, Jordan is number 1 on our list. But we're talking about sheer talent, and I think I'd like to hear who Joe has at number 1. I can probably guess.
yeah, I did some research on this, and this has been my opinion for a long time. I have Magic Johnson. I think you look at his career numbers: 19.7, 20, pretty much 20 points a game, 11.4 assists, 7.3 rebounds. No one else in NBA history can do that.
Giannis
He is literally.
Antetokounmpo. He's gonna.
Oh my God. He played in 13 years, and he retired at the age of 31. To put it this way, that would be LeBron retiring right now. He's still, I would say, in his prime. That'd be like Jordan retiring for good after his first three-peat. Just to give it to you there. He's a 3-time MVP.
Why do you retire?
Medical reasons.
Oh God.
Oh, okay.
Listen, I'm not judging him. I'm not judging. Not judging. All I'm saying
Judge-free
is
zone. We're in a safe space.
safe space.
Yeah.
Safe space for Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
Come on anytime, Magic.
Yeah,
Magic
we'd
8
love
ball.
to have you on
Yeah.
Magic.
If you're listening.
Mr. Johnson, it'd be great to
Irvin.
have you, Irvin.
We'll kill all the mosquitoes.
Oh
in that room.
my God.
Just to he won 5 championships, and 5 championships by the age of 31. Jordan and LeBron both are at 3. So what you're looking at is Russell-esque in terms of championships, in terms of years. 13 years, 12-time All-Star. He's a point guard in a power forward's body. He can do anything. He played center in the finals when Kareem was out. The guy can do it all, and he's the most talented player. And if I'm starting a team with this guy can do anything. You can put him at any position, defend any position, and play stellarly. So that's all
I
I've
need to
got.
put on my bulletproof vest because I'm about to get some shots at me.
We do not know this.
I probably know.
Who I have at number 1 is undeniably the best physical specimen to ever touch a
Oh my
basketball
God.
court. He's
no.
the strongest player of all time. He has the highest vertical of any player ever. He's quicker than most guards in any
Jesus.
era. I'm talking about the man, Mr. 100 points, Wilt Chamberlain. This man is great. It doesn't get much better than him. You know, when you're averaging, when you're playing in a season and you're averaging 50 points a game, 25 rebounds, how can you deny this?
How many rings did he win?
Hey.
How many?
Are we talking about resume? Are we talking about resume here? I'm
I
talking
mean,
about...
we can't just ignore rings.
When you're not the best player in your generation, in your era, in a 10-year span, then you are not the greatest player of all time. I would take Oscar Robertson over Wilt Chamberlain. Mr. Triple-Double.
And here's another thing. What was Larry playing against me? Like, Larry
Don't
playing against me
bring
on the
that-
basketball court.
don't-
That's a valid argument.
don't
Anybody
bring-
could average 50
7'2"
points
playing
against me.
against Adam, what are you, like 5'7", 5'8"?
Yeah.
I'm 5'9", 5'10". Will, around a 5'10",
It was like me and
5'11".
Joe. It was like me and Joe against
Will's
him
the
on the
center.
basketball
Will's
court.
the center at 5'11".
Yeah.
That's... no. I'm 6'1", by the way.
Oh, whoa.
But that's not a valid argument of why he's not...
How is that not a valid argument?
That's why I kept him up. Like I said, Kareem. That is where you start the modern
No.
era of basketball.
No.
That is
No.
that is where you can start saying, all right, this guy's, when you can actually judge him with today's NBA. The past 40 years. When you're going to the 60s, when your games are in all black and white, I'm sorry, you cannot be judged in terms of NBA. How much the game has evolved.
False.
It's not like baseball. I'm a big baseball guy, where you can kind of judge because the game hasn't changed that much.
Oh, when they didn't allow
black people.
and Hispanics in the
no
league?
big deal, right? No big deal.
I mean, what are we talking about? We're talking about Wilt Chamberlain, who holds 68
Oh, my
NBA records. 68. This man did it all.
What would LeBron be in the 1950s and 60s? 1960s.
Exactly. LeBron would be...
He would be so much better.
Okay, but if you put Wilt in today's NBA, he's still the greatest player.
I'm not sure about that.
He's still the greatest player
No,
by
he's
far.
not.
By far, he
By
is.
far.
By far.
By far.
By
By
far.
far, really.
Find-
So he's still averaging 50 points, 20
Find
boards,
one
right?
player in any era that can stop him besides Shaquille O'Neal. Find one player.
Hakeem Olajuwon.
No.
Yes.
No.
Hakeem would stop him.
That's not
Yeah.
true.
Hakeem.
Would. Dikembe.
Dikembe defensively, actually.
Yeah, defensively.
No,
Hey, that's
he
not
would.
Kendrick Perkins.
defensive stopper,
No,
2010.
that's just not true.
DeAndre Jordan, put him on.
I
Put him
want
on
everyone listening to this podcast
Tyson
to
Chandler
go,
in his prime.
to go do research on Wilt Chamberlain.
JaVale
like,
McGee.
like
Stop
I
him.
have. Okay, Wilt Chamberlain is by far the strongest player to ever touch a basketball, and that is facts. He would.
Facts.
That is facts. He would muscle anyone in the current NBA. If you could look up an interview with Arnold Schwarzenegger where he's saying that all people come into the gym and they put them they bring up they do bench press and he's saying how Wilt would do 500 pounds easy on bench press and some of the biggest guys in the gym aren't doing that. I don't see another player in NBA history who's
right.
doing that.
My question for you, William Riley.
Okay.
In 2016, how many points, rebounds would Wilt Chamberlain average per game? That's my question for you.
How I would say that Wilt Chamberlain right now, he would average 36 to 37 points a game. He would average 18 to 20 rebounds.
He's laughing. He's not even.
No, I'm not laughing. I'm just
He
laughing.
is laughing. He's
To
smiling.
see the
You're
look on your
cheesing, dude.
faces.
He would not average that much. Come on.
I'll give it to you. 28 to 29, maybe 30, and I'll give him 15. Dominant. Absolutely dominant. But he wouldn't be averaging 40 points a game and 20 rebounds. That's not
Like,
possible.
you do get
Look
how
at the
insane
pace
that
of
is.
play of the game. It just didn't happen like that.
But he would change the players around him. He would change everyone. People would have to adapt to him. That's what makes a great player.
You know what? They're actually, it's rare, but there are guys who are 7'2" in the NBA today. There are 7-footers in the NBA.
That's great, and they're not as good as he is.
No, they're not. But you know what? They'll be able to keep up with them. You look at him in the 60s. Name another 7-footer. Bill Russell was 6'9", and he was his counterpart.
If you look at the average height of NBA centers in the 60s, I believe it's 6'8". 6'8" is the average height of a center back then. What's the average height of a center right now?
6'11", 7 feet.
Yeah.
2-inch, 3-inch difference.
That's
It's
a big difference.
It's a big
That's
difference.
a big difference.
Not a big
How can you
difference.
say it's not?
Fine,
a
I'm
big difference?
6'2". I'm 6'1". I can say that 3 inches
Yeah.
doesn't make a difference.
It doesn't matter.
I'm 5'10" now.
It doesn't.
Will, you're 6'4". How? 3 inches makes a huge difference.
doesn't
Come
matter.
on.
It
in
makes
the
a big
It makes a
difference.
big difference.
It doesn't matter in the
And not to
long
mention speed and skill and.
Yes, he's quicker than most guards today is.
All right, Bill Russell was his contemporary. What would Bill Russell be in the NBA today? You can't have Wilt Chamberlain at number 1 and not have Bill Russell in your top 5 if
Nope,
you're making that argument.
incorrect.
Yeah, he did win
Nope.
11 championships. Oh, let's just ignore. We'll just
Nope.
ignore the 11
You have to be
championships, right?
consistent on your argument. That's what I'm saying.
What would Bill Russell average today?
Yeah, what?
Bill Russell would average. I would say he averages 15 points, and he averages 14 or 15 rebounds.
So you're saying he's DeAndre Jordan?
Yeah, Bill Russell's DeAndre
No,
Jordan.
you're not being consistent then.
I am being consistent because
You're
if we're inflating stats for the 60s, what did Bill Russell average throughout his career? 18 points, 22 rebounds. Yeah, that's what he averaged.
But he was 6'9". But he wasn't 7'2" like Wilt.
He
How?
ate Will's lunch.
No, that is just incorrect. The Celtics ate Wilt's lunch. That is true because the Celtics had 11 Hall
What
of
would Bob Cousy be today then? What would Bob Cousy be today?
Bob Cousy. He'd be an outstanding point guard.
JJ Barea. That's what
That's
he'd be.
just not
He'd
true.
be JJ. He wishes he would be JJ Barea.
We're talking about a Celtics team who had 11 Hall of Famers on their team in one season at the same time. You have 6 Hall of Famers coming
But
off
that's
the
because they all
bench.
played on that team together. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but of course they're gonna destroy any team in their path.
you
Obviously,
put that team in the NBA today, and they're a fringe playoff team. I think.
I don't know about
I don't
that.
know about that.
I'd say they're 1 or 2 in a seed. It's just you cannot. I'm being dead serious right now. You cannot sit there with the straight faces you guys have and like dilapidate his stats due to how
Dilapidate like that would.
due to how big and strong he was. How can you diminish his greatness because of the people he played against? I just don't get that.
Because we're saying if you could start a team right now, we're not saying resume. What you're doing is resume.
I'm not doing
Because of his
resume.
numbers, the numbers he put up in an era where A, stats were inflated just in general, and B, he was playing against guys who were not his physical peers. You got today, there are guys who physically are his peers.
Who?
DeAndre Jordan.
Who is 7'2".
Roy Hibbert. Defensively, you give me defensively Roy Hibbert in 2010, 2011 when the Pacers went back-to-back Eastern Conference championships. I think that he could guard Wilt.
Oh my lord, Roy Hibbert is the most useless NBA player
Right now,
he
in
was good.
history.
I'll give him that.
Give
He
me
was good.
3-4 years ago, Roy Hibbert at 7'2", and his skill, he was looking.
His skill, so nothing. He's worthless.
He was a good defensive player.
He was good.
worthless.
Tyson Chandler was an excellent defensive player. He won a defensive player of the year, I think, the year of the Mavs.
Hassan? Maybe Hassan could even shut
Oh
him down.
my
I don't know.
gosh. This is ridiculous that you two are trying to sit there and tell me that Wilt isn't one of the greatest players of all
Tyler
time.
Zeller could shut him down. I
You
think.
need to shut up. Just
What?
shut it.
What?
Just shut up. Okay? I'm so mad right now. You
Amir
have
Johnson?
No,
Maybe?
You have no
Al
idea.
Horford?
SJW about Will Chamberlain.
Isaiah could shut him down, right?
You need to stop. Like, he's 7'2". He's the most. He's the epitome of
Magic could shut him down.
No, he couldn't. Just stop. He's the epitome of physicality in the
Zimbulhar.
NBA.
LeBron?
Zimbulhar.
No.
I don't know. I think Dennis Rodman. When you think physicality, Bill Laimbeer. When you hear physicality in the NBA, you think the bad boy Pistons. You don't think of Wilt Chamberlain. When you think of guy who's just bigger than everyone else, you think Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah.
We're talking. Wilt Chamberlain
mad.
is noted. The guy. There's a story of this guy going up for like a layup or a dunk, and Wilt Chamberlain comes and he blocks the shot back into the guy's hand and he dislocates his shoulder. That's how strong this man is. The guy goes on record of saying that this is true.
It's because it was literally me. It was probably me going up for
Yeah,
the layup. It's
at
probably a little
5'7",
weakling like
140
me.
pounds going up there.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, it doesn't matter. How can you say it? How can
That's
you
like
say
me
that?
going and playing against little kids, like going to frickin' elementary school with all the fourth graders and saying, I'll show you a thing or two about
To
basketball.
be fair, I don't think you could average 50 and 25 against the fourth graders.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I might.
No, it's just not true. You two are hypocrites. You two.
No, we're
are-
not, because you know what? I don't have any guy from that era, and neither does Adam.
No, I do
This is
not.
disrespectful.
It's
not
If
disrespectful
anyone's
at
being
all.
hypocritical, it's you,
No,
because you're
no.
trashing Bill Russell, who actually has the best resume. of that time, and you're totally saying that he wouldn't be that great, and you're saying that Will Chamberlain would be. Rebounds-wise, I don't know.
You have to know. You have to know that Wilt.
Also, another thing, when you talk about greatest teams, in terms of scoring, Wilt was the only guy on his team. Bill Russell actually had to distribute to other Hall of Famers.
That's true.
Wilt Chamberlain, he was always being called selfish because he's averaging 50 points a game. They're saying, oh, you need to pass more. What does he do? He goes out, in one season, he gets the most assists in the season.
Look at his competition.
He's
like
the leading.
How many times do we have to say this? He's like playing against me.
I don't care.
He
who
can
he's
do whatever he
playing.
wants.
That's this way. Jordan or LeBron, any of the Magic, what would they average in the 60s? 50s, 60s, whatever.
LeBron, I think he would look at the same stats as like Oscar Robinson, where he'd be averaging probably 35 a game. He'd probably be averaging 15 rebounds.
Probably more. I would put him at 20 rebounds. If Bill Russell was averaging 22 rebounds at that time at 6'8", not as big or strong as LeBron, you get LeBron down there, he could be averaging 25 rebounds a game.
But are we putting LeBron on a team like Wilt, like where he's like the only scorer?
Sure.
He might be averaging 50.
Yeah, he might be averaging 50.
He might be averaging 50.
That man can literally score at will, especially against people like me.
Yeah, I understand that he. Look, I think LeBron could average 40 right now if he wanted to. If he went on there and took took every shot, he could average 40, no problem. Obviously, LeBron could average 50 in that time period. He could average 40 in any time period. He could average 12 rebounds in any time period. He could average 12 assists in any time period. I think Jordan would probably average 45 points, 48 points. I think he'd probably average 10 rebounds, maybe 8 assists. Yeah. And I think Magic would probably average, personally, I think Magic would average about 34, 35 points. I think he'd average 15.
I'd say like 20 at the time.
20 rebounds?
20 assists. Oh,
I'm not talking about
my
assists.
bad.
Probably 14 or 15 rebounds and probably 19 or 20 assists. Yeah.
So we're talking inflated numbers for everyone across the board.
That's why I don't have Wilt in today's NBA averaging 50 and 25.
I'm averaging 40 and 20.
No, I said 36 and like 18.
Oh, yeah.
Then why isn't anyone in the NBA doing it now?
Because no one is stronger than he is. No one's bigger than he is. No one's more athletic than he is. He's the strongest, quickest. He's better than everyone else.
DeAndre Jordan's pretty strong. I mean, Andre Drummond's they're pretty strong guys.
I don't
They
care.
average like what? 13 a game.
How about us three go over to DeAndre Jordan's house and see how much you can bench press?
I'll ask him. I'll call him.
I promise you it's not 500. I can promise you that. I'd put my life it's not 500. I put my life it's not 400.
Are you 100% sure it's 500? Because old baseball back in the 40s are saying Bob Feller could be able to throw 100-something miles an hour. There were no radar guns. We didn't know.
I'm doing word of mouth of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Word of mouth.
I don't want to hear word of mouth. Give me the combine stats.
I mean,
I don't think there was a small little Italian man with a clipboard over there saying 500 pounds, Jim. I don't think someone was doing that. I think it was just...
Then if it's not confirmed, you can't say it.
Yeah.
I mean, it is confirmed by Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
He's a governor. He's a governor. Of course, I'm gonna believe whatever.
John Kasich supporter too.
Yeah.
I don't know. We could probably go back and forth all day with this. I mean, it's probably not going to get any better because you two are just
we're right.
You're closed-minded.
Oh, close-minded. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure.
That's a very liberal argument.
Oh.
No.
We're getting into politics. We don't want to get into that.
I mean, when you're looking at a player who has like 6 times, like 10 times more NBA records than any player ever, he has 68 NBA records. He is the highest vertical at 46 inches.
And
confirmed?
Is that like confirmed?
This is confirmed. This is confirmed.
How is this confirmed?
MLA citation?
MLA citation. People have recognized this. It's true.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No, it's not Arnold.
I asked Arnold myself.
I didn't ask Arnold myself. I asked his mistress, and she said that he had 46-inch vertical. You know, he's lifting 500 pounds. He's quicker. Do your research. I can't sit here and spew facts at you, even though I could. Do your research, and we'll come back next Thursday, and we'll have a good debate. Hopefully, maybe next week we'll get into like some 80s or something, so I won't get yelled at because people think I'm wrong, even though I'm not.
Wrong.
You're wrong.
No, not wrong. But I kind of hate you guys right now.
Okay.
And I guess
That's
we'll be
fair.
back. We'll be back next Thursday with some more Throwback Thursday. Hopefully, we'll have another guest on next week. Glad having you on, Joe. We'll see you again next week, guys. And that's all.
Yep.